we can find a linear equation now just from a graph. Because we know that y equals mx plus c, and please note I've made a change here to the language, because you may find that either b or c are used. But because we know this, we can look at a graph, we can find the gradient, we can find the y-intercept, and then we can write it in this form. It just builds on the work we've already done, so it should be pretty straightforward. Let's look at an example so that you guys can have a go. So here's our two examples. I've drawn two. You'll notice one is very clearly on a number plane with a grid line, but this second one is not. This second one looks a bit different. So let's do it over here on this board. What we've got firstly, the first thing I like to do is to find my gradient. So this is what part A. Find my gradient, and I should remember gradient is rise over run. This slope is positive. Sometimes finding the rise over the run looks a bit complicated. I'm going to look for points where it crosses lines. And I can see that quite quickly and easily in this one here, where it rises and then runs to a key intersection of this grid line. So, my rise in this case is 2. My run is 1. So I can substitute that into my equation here, 2 over 1, which of course equals 2. My y-intercept, or my constant, or b as I've also been talking about it, is where it cuts the y-axis, which is straight here at 3. When x is 0, negative 3. So c equals minus 3. To write it in the form, y equals mx plus c, all I have to do now is substitute my values. M I replace with 2x plus, but I notice it's a negative, so it's actually minus 3. How easy is that? So much easier. So same with B though. Let's have a look at B. I want you to notice straight away it's negative. This is a negative slope. So our number in front of the x is going to be negative. Let's have a look. Again, our gradient, rise over run. Let's have a look down over here. My rise is actually a negative, so it's negative 2. My run happens to be 2. Hopefully you can see that. It's going down 2, it's going across 2, because this is cutting each time at 2. Hopefully that's pretty straightforward. So again, we can substitute that in. Minus 2, watch out for that, over 2, which simplifies to minus 1. My constant, where it cuts the y-axis, happens to be just straight at 2. Write it in the form of an equation. Y equals mx plus c, negative 1. I'll show you straight up that it looks like that, plus 2, but we know we can simplify that to minus x plus 2, because minus 1 times x is still minus x. That's how we can find the equation of a line from a number plane. Pretty straightforward, hopefully. Once we know the gradient and the y-intercept, we can then substitute into the equation. Let's do some examples.